The NBA returns to China through an unexpected partnership. TNT Sports is bringing video game graphics to live basketball, and teams look to make moves on the margins as trade season heats up. I'm your host Kyle, and welcome to Front Office Files, where we break down the biggest business moves in basketball from the past week. From gaming innovations to international ventures, let's dive into the money moves transforming the NBA landscape. Before we dive into our main stories, let's rapid fire through some notable moves. In a sign of the times, the WNBA announced two major developments: a record-long 44-game season for 2025, and the league's first international expansion team, the Toronto Tempo, tipping off in 2026. Four-time All-Star Paul Millsap has called it a career after 16 seasons. The former 47th overall pick joins Elite Company as one of only 8 players in NBA history with 500 threes, 1,000 blocks, and 1,000 steals. Congratulations on a great career, Mr. Millsap. The NBA's fine department was working overtime this week. The Rockets trio of coach Ime Udoka, Tari Eason, and Alperen Sengun got hit for $50,000, $35,000, and $15,000 respectively. Meanwhile, Jaylen Brown owes $25,000 for a throat slash gesture, and Zach Collins is out $35,000 for flipping off a ref. Apparently, the NBA thinks middle fingers are more offensive than throat slashes. Make that of what you will. Our top story takes us to Macao, where the NBA is making its first return to China since 2019. And no, despite what NBA Twitter might suggest, Ben Simmons isn't being sent to the Shanghai Sharks. The Brooklyn Nets and Phoenix Suns will face off in 2 preseason games next October, marking the end of a diplomatic freeze that cost the league hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. The story behind this return is fascinating. After then Rockets general manager Daryl Morey's Hong Kong protest tweet in 2019, the NBA lost lucrative sponsorships and got pulled from Chinese broadcast television. It's taken years of careful relationship building, led by NBA China CEO Michael Ma, to get back to this point. But here's where it gets interesting. The games will be played at the Venetian Arena, owned by none other than the Las Vegas Sands Corporation via the Adelson family. Yes, the same Adelson family that just bought the Dallas Mavericks. Sources say Mavs governor Patrick Dumont, who happens to be the Sands COO, was instrumental in brokering this deal. Talk about synergy. The Adelsons have controlled the Mavs for about a year, and they're already opening doors for the league. The NBA isn't just dipping its toe back into water, they're diving in head first. They're planning to create an NBA flagship store at the Londoner Macao, youth development programs, and broadcasts reaching over 200 countries. Major brands like Nike, Ant International, and Tissot are already on board as marketing partners. It's a far cry from the days when getting ready to learn Chinese was seen as a career death sentence in NBA circles.
Get ready to learn Chinese, buddy. It won't be long before you're playing point guard for the Guangdong Tigers.
The numbers are in on Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA, and they're staggering. According to a study by Dr. Ryan Brewer of Indiana University Columbus, Clark is single-handedly responsible for 26.5% of the league's total activity. We're talking attendance, merchandise, TV ratings, all of it. 1 in every 6 tickets sold at WNBA arenas? That's the Caitlin effect. The economic impact is even more impressive. TV viewership is up 300%, while Clark's Indiana Fever games account for 45% of total broadcast value. Merchandise sales shot up 500%, with Clark and Angel Reese dominating the charts. For Indianapolis alone, Clark's presence means a $36 million boost to the local economy. Here's the kicker. Clark's rookie contract pays her just $76,535. That's about 1% of her total earnings when you factor in her endorsements, like her 8-year, $28 million Nike deal. Talk about a return on investment. TNT Sports is about to blur the line between video games and reality. During the NBA Cup knockout rounds, they're launching a NBA 2K25 altcast that looks straight out of your PlayStation. Everything you could think of will be there. Shot meters, 2K badges, player tracking, even the official 2K camera angle. Some think this is just another gimmick for views. As former NBA player Rashad McCants pointed out,
but the game is now so realistic that the real game is becoming a video game.
Now TNT is leaning into that connection, offering real-time stats and probability metrics that gamers will instantly recognize. It's a smart play to attract younger viewers who grew up with the 2K franchise. Two Eastern Conference teams just got some extra financial flexibility through disabled player exceptions via season-ending injuries. The Pacers received two, a $2.2 million one for Isaiah Jackson and a $1.2 million one for James Wiseman. Meanwhile, the Hornets got approved for a hefty $6.5 million DPE for Grant Williams. But here's where it gets interesting. These exceptions aren't created equal. Pacers exceptions, based on minimum level contracts, don't offer much flexibility. But Charlotte's $6.5 million exception? That could be valuable trade bait. The Hornets could use it as a salary dumping ground for teams trying to duck the tax or match salaries in bigger deals. Expect them to pick up a couple second-round picks for their trouble. Sometimes good basketball isn't enough. Just ask Elfrid Payton, who got waived by the Pelicans despite dropping 14 points and 21 assists in a recent game. The issue? New Orleans is $1.4 million over the luxury tax line, and carrying a 15th player on a non-guaranteed deal just doesn't make financial sense. The Pelicans will take a $275,000 cap hit on the waiver, but that's better than staying in the tax. League executives speak of New Orleans trying to trade out of the tax as an inevitability. They just need to move one minimum contract by February to make it happen. As we approach December 15th, minimum contracts are becoming the hottest commodity in the trade market. Teams operating near the second tax apron, like Milwaukee and Phoenix, are especially hungry for these budget-friendly additions. Why? Because any team, regardless of their cap situation, can always acquire players on minimum deals. This isn't just about end-of-the-bench guys either. Teams can trade for any player making less than $2.0875 million, the 2-year vet minimum slot value this season. That's why Portland's getting calls about Dewalt Reef, and why Jose Alvarado's $1.98 million salary has cap strategists drooling over him. Here's the real kicker. These new CBA tax aprons are making salary matching more complex than ever. As one cap strategist put it, quote, "If you have a desirable guy and 10 teams like him, you might only have 2 teams that can make the math work. In this environment, those minimum contracts are worth their weight in gold." Other stories we're tracking this trade season are, the Rockets are, quote, "adamant about keeping their core intact this season." Our sources say their white whale is Devin Booker, and they have been stacking assets to make a run for him this offseason. The Pelicans seem destined to make a tax-ducking move by February, and Charlotte's looking to leverage that DPE into future assets. Thanks for watching this episode of Front Office Files. If you enjoyed diving into the business side of basketball, make sure to like, comment, and share with someone who would enjoy breakdowns of the money moves behind the game. Subscribe to Basketball Business for more great content on the off-court moves that make the on-court plays. Until next time, this is Kyle with Basketball Business.